Good day students, today's class is on zoonoses. So this term zoonosis or zoonotic diseases, it is usually, zoonosis is a Greek word. Zoo means animals and nosis means disease. So today we're going to learn diseases which are transmitted from animals to human beings. So at the end of the session, you should be able to define zoonosis and list some common zoonotic diseases. Explain arthropod-borne diseases, their modes of disease transmission and control methods. Explain rodent-borne diseases, their modes of transmission and control methods. So let us first look into some terminology. What is a pathogen? Pathogen is a microbe. It can be a bacteria, virus, fungi or parasite, which is capable of causing disease. Host is usually a human which harbors the pathogen. Reservoir of infection. Reservoir of infection is a natural habitat in which organism lives and multiplies. That is, it can be human, it can be animal reservoir, or it can be the environment. Like for example, in typhoid fever, what is a reservoir of infection? Usually a case of typhoid or a carrier. Zoonosis. Zoonosis is transmission of pathogen from animals to humans. An infection caused by animals and human beings is zoonosis. Vector. Vector can be an insect, a tick, or a rodent, any animal or bird which can transmit disease to humans. What are arthropods? Arthropods they are invertebrate animals like insects, ticks, or crustaceans like snails that have segmented body, and usually they have segmented body and jointed appendages. And rodents are small mammals. Can you tell me some examples? They can be rat, mice, guinea pig, hamster, etc. So zoonosis or zoonotic diseases are infections transmitted from animals to humans. What are the routes of transmission? It can be by direct contact with animals. Say you're bitten by a dog, you acquire rabies infection. Or your profession is a veterinary doctor, or you're working as a cattle rearer. When you come in contact with animals, you can acquire some infections. Or you're having some pet dogs at home, you can get some fungal infections like ringworm infection. Then indirect contact with animal secretions, be it animal excreta, urine, saliva or blood. Okay, you can get an infection. Like when you come in contact with rodent excreta, you get diseases like leptospirosis. Okay. Next, arthropod or vector borne, which these are infections acquired when you are bitten by certain insects and ticks. Food or waterborne, like gastroenteritis caused by non-typhoidal salmonella. Okay, like the poultry which is infected by non-typhoidal salmonella agents like Salmonella typhimurium or Salmonella enteritidis. Okay, when you eat improperly cooked food or the water which is contaminated, you can get such infections. Next, inhalation of respiratory droplets. You can get fungal infections like cryptococcosis and histoplasmosis are acquired by inhalation of the fungi present which are suspended in the air. Further, if you look the classification of zoonosis, if you look at a broader classification, one is arthropod-borne, which is transmitted by the infected arthropod vectors like insects and ticks, and next is animal-borne. When you come in contact with domestic animals like sheep, cow, pig, or birds like pigeon and parrots, when you come in contact with, or wild animals like bat, fox, rodents. So particularly when the zoonosis is by the rodents, it is called as rodent borne infection. So looking into zoonosis, the causative agents, the bacterial agents are brucella, or if you look into the diseases, can be brucellosis, anthrax, tuberculosis, gastroenteritis caused by non-typhoidal salmonella, plague, leptospirosis, and Q fever. Q fever is caused by Coxiella burnetii. Similarly, if you look at some viruses, viral diseases can be rabies, dengue, Japanese bee encephalitis, and chikungunya. Some of the parasitic zoonotic diseases are leishmaniasis, giardiasis, toxoplasmosis, tapeworm disease, and trichinosis. Some of the fungal zoonotic diseases are ringworm disease, or also known as dermatophytosis, histoplasmosis, and cryptococcosis. Now let us move on to arthropod-borne diseases. I told you arthropods they can be insects and ticks. Insects like mosquitoes, sandflies, houseflies, etc. So they are diseases which are transmitted to humans by arthropods. And arthropod vectors can be mosquitoes, flies, fleas, ticks, mite, lice, etc. They are also known as vector-borne diseases. Some of the important vector-borne diseases in India are malaria, which is transmitted by mosquitoes, malaria, dengue fever, Japanese bee encephalitis, chikungunya, kala azar, and lymphatic filariasis. Looking into types of arthropod vectors, they can be mechanical vectors or biological vectors. Mechanical vectors are arthropod vectors that just physically carry the causative agent. It's not that the agent is within their body, it multiplies, but it's only physically present on their body, like cockroaches and houseflies, which carry, the disease causing agent on their body, and when they enter into they can transmit this pathogen into the food, they carry it into the food, and when you consume such food, you get the disease. So the pathogen is present just physically on this vector, it's not within the body of the vector. Whereas when you look at the biological vector as an arthropod, where the causative agent of the zoonosis is within the body, it can undergo some part of development within it. Example, mosquito, which causes malaria, but some part of their life cycle is within the mosquito. And tick, etc. are the biological vectors. So let us see some mosquito-borne arthropod diseases. So the vector, the mosquito can be an Anopheles, Aedes mosquito, or a Culex mosquito. So when you look at Anopheles vector, it causes malaria, and the Culex vector causes filaria and Japanese bee encephalitis, and Aedes mosquito or Aedes vector causes dengue, chikungunya, and lymphatic filariasis. Looking into tick-borne diseases, the tick-borne diseases are tick typhus, tularemia, Lyme's disease. These are the bacterial diseases, and parasitic diseases, babesiosis caused by babesia, and some viral tick-borne diseases are Cassonur forest disease and Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. Looking into flea-borne diseases, the bacterial diseases are plague, which is caused by Yersinia pestis, and endemic typhus caused by Rickettsia typhi. And some parasitic diseases caused by flea are, the parasites causing them are Diphyllidium caninum and Hymenolopus nana. Looking into louse-borne zoonotic diseases. Louse is plural form and lice is a singular form. We all must have had this louse-borne, the lice in the hair. So it can cause human louse infestations like head louse, lice present in the hair, or they can exist on the body and even on the pubic hair. Okay, and if you look at some bacterial diseases caused by lice, they are epidemic typhus, relapsing fever, and trench fever. With mice as a vector, the diseases caused are scrub typhus, rickettsial pox, and scabies. Okay, scabies is common in people living in hostels or people living in overcrowded areas, and who share common um, beds, etc. Okay, and some fomites. What are fomites? Fomites are nothing but inanimate objects. They can be bed sheets, they can be blankets, they can be combs, okay, shaving tools, etc. Then the reduvid bug as a vector, the disease transmitted is Chagas disease. It's caused by the parasite Trypanosoma cruzi. CC vector, it causes American trypanosomiasis or sleeping sickness. It's a parasitic infection caused by Trypanosoma gambians or rhodesians. With the sandfly as a vector, the diseases caused are visceral leishmaniasis or Kala Azar, a parasitic infection caused by Leishmania donovani, and sandfly fever is caused by phlebivirus. Now, housefly and cockroaches, they are mechanical vectors. That is, the pathogen is only present on their body, doesn't have any life cycle part in it. So, let us see the list of diseases caused by housefly or cockroaches. It can be typhoid by Salmonella typhi, bacillary dysentery caused by Shigella, cholera caused by Vibrio cholera, and trachoma caused by Chlamydia trachomatis. And these are the bacterial diseases, and some viral diseases are hepatitis A virus infection and poliomyelitis, and parasitic infections are amoebic dysentery caused by Entamoeba histolytica. So arthropod-borne diseases and zoonotic diseases are commonly asked questions in the exam. Now let us look at these, how can we control these vectors? So by spraying, one is by spraying insecticides at home and in the environment, by personal protection, by wearing appropriate protective clothing, using mosquito nets and applying repellents to the skin. Environmental measures include by decreasing the multiplication of vectors. How? By destroying the breeding sites. Avoid sites where there's stagnation of water, like you leave some tins outside your water or some drums with water lying them for long time, or some rubber tubes with water lying in them. They are sources where mosquitoes can lay eggs and their larva can grow. Okay, avoid deforestation. Okay, by by which you can avoid tick infections. And even when you are having pets at your house, you must have seen ticks on them. So by grooming them properly, you can avoid tick-borne infections. Next is biological control. You can use, if you have some ponds around or small water collections around, by growing the larvivorous fish like gambusia fish and guppy fish, you can destroy the larva of the mosquito. Next, the rodent-borne diseases. What are rodents? They are rats or mouse, hamsters, etc. So rodents are reservoirs of number of human diseases. Examples of rodents I told you can be mice, rat, and how can you acquire these rodent-borne diseases? By direct contact with rodents. Probably the rodent has bitten you. The rats can bite sometimes, and contact with rodent feces, urine, and saliva. And indirect route is the rodents, the infected rodents being harboring or being bitten by ticks, mites, and fleas, which again come and bite the human beings. This is the indirect route. So Let us look at some diseases which are by direct transmission or direct contact with rodents. They are hantavirus infection, plague, leptospirosis, salmonellosis, tularemia, rat bite fever, and parasitic infection like toxoplasmosis and trichinosis. And by the what are the rodent-borne diseases by acquired by indirect contact? That is by what did we discuss about the indirect contact? The rat, the infected rodents which are bitten by the insects like ticks and mites, and then them coming and biting the human beings, like West Nile viral disease, which is by Culex mosquito, Lyme's disease and babesiosis, which is by ticks, and rickettsial pox and scrub typhus, which is by the mite. What are the rodent control measures? You have to seal up all the holes wherever present inside and outside of the home to prevent the entry of the rodents, or you can use some rodent traps and clean up the food sources. Never leave any food just like that lying, because there will be not only rodents, there can be even house flies and other insects around which can cause diseases. Thank you.